So now, yeah. go. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, okay, dude. Bruh.
An American household is typically delivered two physical goods as utilities. The first is water, and the ability to turn on a tap and reliably have fresh, clean water year-round, no matter recent precipitation, is undoubtedly impressive. But a water utility is typically a fairly local service. Except for a few fascinating exceptions, water tends to be gathered from a natural source, processed, and delivered to households fairly nearby. It's a fairly intuitive, fairly straightforward process that has been going on in some form for hundreds, even thousands of years. Natural gas, though, that's a modern marvel. The general rule is that natural gas production happens where people are not. This is in part a happenstance of geography, in part the consequence of an aversion to proximity to production, but what it means is that gas often has to travel hundreds, if not thousands of miles to get to its end user. To get low-density, flammable gas across the entire continent is far from easy, and it's even harder to do so profitably. Whereas gasoline and other liquid fuels are dense enough that the cost of transport to the end user by truck is marginal relative to the overall cost, the same is not true for natural gas. Therefore, through time, what has turned the previously worthless gas into a profitable commodity is figuring out how to make the transport economics work. And the answer for that was pipelines. Really, really long ones. Taking the example of an end user in Basalt, Colorado, their town's local network hooks up to a larger transmission pipeline that follows the area's highway down the valley until around here. Under this golf course, this dead-end offshoot connects with the long-distance transmission pipelines spanning across Colorado. Now, the fact that this happens under a golf course demonstrates something important. The pipeline operator does not own the land through which the pipeline passes. Rather, they own the right of the pipeline to pass through others' lands. They own an easement. When a pipeline is constructed, the company negotiates with landowners to purchase the easement, or if the negotiations don't go well, acquires it through eminent domain. In exchange, the landowner gets paid a lump sum, more or less equivalent to a reduction in property value caused by the easement. After all, the property value will be lower. Not only will buyers be wary of moving their pipeline due to the low but non-zero risk of an accident, but easements also come with restrictions on what one can do with the land. Typically, you can't build any buildings, you can't plant any trees, you really can only have pavement, grass, or dirt. The operator needs to be able to access the pipeline for maintenance and repair at any time, so they can't have a permanent structure in the way. And these easements are legally binding for eternity. They are baked in with a property's title, so buyers must still abide by the restrictions agreed upon by the original seller. Here, the adjacent housing development is laid out in a way to avoid the largely invisible right-of-way, and on the other side of the river, the right-of-way slides between buildings, barely even visible from the satellite. As the hills start, the right-of-way takes its more typical, a 50-foot wide stretch of land devoid of trees. And that lack of trees originates, of course, from construction. That process is fairly straightforward. First, heavy machinery is used to dig a trench. Then, sections of pipe are laid out next to the trench, and a pipe bending machine comes through to bend the pipe all in its body. Next, the shorter sections are welded together into longer sections, and the welds are strictly inspected. After all, structural integrity is critically necessary to prevent incidents. Once complete, they place these long sections in the trench on sandbags to prevent damage to their protective coating. Then soft, rock-free dirt is placed to directly surround the pipe, followed by the previously removed dirt to fill the rest of the trench. From there, the crews test the pipe by filling it with water and pressurizing it well beyond its normal operating pressure, and that's about it. Pipeline construction is relatively straightforward and moves relatively fast. Under the right conditions, this can install upward of a mile of pipe a day, often across quite rigorous environments. But there is more to pipeline construction than just constructing a pipe. After all, if you put natural gas into a pipeline in Texas, it doesn't just magically flow to Colorado. That's why you need this, a compressor station. As the name implies, these are facilities that compress the gas, and it's this pressure that propels the gas forward through the pipeline at a speed of about 25 miles or 40 kilometers per hour. They're also important for making the economics work. An average household uses about 200 cubic feet of natural gas a day. That's a lot of volume of gas. It'd fill up a 6-foot or 2-meter cube, or the volume of about 10 fridges. The economics of transporting this gas would never work if it were done at its natural density. That's why they compress it, quite a lot in fact, between 500 and 1,400 pounds per square inch, allowing a pipeline to be used far more efficiently. These compressor stations are also often home to so-called pig launchers, which are more humane than they sound. That's because these are what are referred to as pigs. Devices placed into the pipeline to perform some function. Some pigs clean the pipeline, whereas others are smart pigs fitted with sensors to inspect it for any vulnerabilities. While less relevant in natural gas pipelines, operators will even use pigs to separate out 2 different products moving through the pipeline. They might send a batch of traditional vehicle fuel.
No!
And wherever there's a pig launcher, there's also a pig catcher that's able to remove the device from the pipeline while still allowing the product to flow. Now, this pipeline eventually emerges from the mountains into another golf course, this time just south of the town of Eagle. From there, it connects to another pipeline. right continues east, but left eventually dead ends just a few miles down the road. This is common because while one major category of customers for these long-distance transmission pipelines is the local utilities that distribute gas to local users, the other big customers are large industrial facilities that use so much natural gas that they have a direct connection to the long-distance pipelines. In this case, it's a plant that turns gypsum lined nearby into plaster drywall, and it's energy intensive enough that the facility operates its own 6 megawatt natural gas power plant. The rest of the pipeline, though, more or less follows the path of Route 6, then diverts south over a set of hills before reconnecting with the highway and ending up here, another compressor station. Although this compressor station isn't operated by Black Hills Energy like the pipeline up to this point, it's operated by Excel Energy. That's because here, the pipeline's ownership changes, which is also a political comment. Pipelines in the U.S. are highly regulated by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and as part of that, interstate pipeline operators are required to provide non-discriminatory open access to all qualified shippers. Effectively, they're not even allowed to provide preference to their own product. FERC also regulates rates. Black Hills Energy, for example, is allowed to charge $36.87 to reserve a decatherm of pipeline capacity during the winter when demand is higher. That guarantees capacity. Then they'll charge another 10 cents per decatherm for the actual transmission. Alternately, shippers can pay just 94 cents per decatherm with no capacity charge for interruptible transmission where product is shipped only if there is available capacity. The fact that the system is open access is ultimately how a product can find its way through the nation's web of pipelines all the way from where it's produced. A shipper might pay a dozen different companies for their transmission service to get the gas from its origin. And in the case of an end user in Colorado, it's quite likely that the origin for its gas is here, Texas's Permian Basin. There, the natural gas is extracted from the ground and processed into its commodity form. The area's primary industry is the more lucrative oil production, but natural gas is often a byproduct of that. Still to this day, many rigs burn off natural gas if they lack the infrastructure to produce sale, but an increasing number do capture oil. Whether extracted by a combined or dedicated rigs, it is often difficult to fluctuate production quickly to fluctuate wildly considering so much of the use of gas is for heat. So that's the role of these 400 different natural gas storage sites dotted across America. Some of these sites are just the very areas where gas is previously extracted from the deep underground caverns. It's all on which the gas is gathered, generally source trees near the ground, sometimes spanning thousands of acres, sit empty, and that makes them ideal for storage. They also already have existing wells, existing extraction and injecting methods, and existing pipeline connections. Here, gas is reinjected into impermeable natural caverns some 1,000 to 5,000 feet or 300 to 1,500 meters below the ground, where the working gas, the natural gas that is commodified, occupies the upper part of the cavern, and a cushion gas maintains a pressure buffer at the bottom. Because the depleted natural gas fields are established, proven, and widespread, their geology and infrastructure makes them the most inexpensive and easiest way to store natural gas. There is, however, another method that has been developed about a decade ago and actually ramped up some storage capacity. Salt caverns, which completely turn over storage since they accept a higher ratio of working gas to cushion gas. Leaching out and creating salt caverns is expensive, but because of their high withdrawal and injection rates, which can cycle up to 12 times per year, that cost can be justified. The short withdrawal cycle is ideal for pumping energy into power plants during peak periods, and because more natural salt caverns are found in the south and gulf area, this is where they're increasingly able to be. The third type, similar to depleted oil fields in structure, are drained aquifers. These share the characteristics of being underground natural storage areas, but because they previously stored water, the surfaces can be permeable and the caverns thus explored. It's more expensive to transform aquifers into natural gas storage, so it's primarily done in areas like the Midwest where depleted oil fields are less common. Furthermore, aquifers require up to 80% cushion gas, meaning the amount of working gas they actually hold is far less than something like a salt cavern, making injection and withdrawal more difficult. But not all the gas extracted in Texas, or anywhere in the US for that matter, will even be used in the US. Increasingly, gas is not only transported across the continent, but across the world. And to get to such far-flung markets, it's moved as a liquid, crossing oceans, gulfs, seas, and straits in one of these. This is a Qmax class liquefied natural gas carrier. There are 14 of them worldwide, and their classification signals that they are the very largest vessel capable of docking at Qatar's LNG terminals, making them the largest LNG carriers in the world. But in terms of sheer capacity, these are small in comparison to their conventional oil tanker contemporaries. A Qmax can carry some 266,000 cubic meters of liquefied natural gas, whereas the world's largest TI-class supertankers can carry up to 450,000 cubic meters of oil. And yet, these conventional oil tankers, with their superior storage, come at a fraction of the cost of an LNG carrier, as the last TI-class supertanker cost $82 million in 2003, whereas a Qmax runs in the $200 to $300 million range. While smaller, more expensive to build, and more expensive to maintain given the requirements of keeping natural gas in the state, experts believe that there will soon be more LNG tankers plodding across the oceans than oil tankers. The reason as to why has to do with some geography and some physics. On a global scale, the demand for natural gas is in places far from the supply. In 2023, these three countries were the largest LNG importers in the world, with China narrowly outpacing Japan. For decades, these three countries have been at the top of the list, with Japan the world's #1 year in, year out until 2021. And for two of these three countries, total consumption exactly matches or very nearly matches imports. Put simply, Japan has very limited natural gas, and South Korea has almost none. And while China does have a strong domestic supply, it cannot nearly keep pace with its own demand. The difficulty is, most of the big suppliers are far away from the ocean to make any sort of pipeline project to be feasible. So geography has dictated that if natural gas is to get from the US or Qatar or Russia or Norway or Australia, it's likely going to be by ship. But it's physics that make natural gas cost competitive. For natural gas to enter a liquid state, it needs to be cooled to and kept at negative 260 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 162 degrees Celsius, which is what makes LNG ships so expensive to build and expensive to run. But it's worth the trade-off because once cooled into a liquid, natural gas shrinks to 1/600th of its previous volume. While natural gas has been lobbied as a cleaner, more efficient energy source by proponents, it's really this incredible transformation from luminous gas to energy-dense liquid that makes this energy source so remarkable and now so important on a global scale. By keeping the gas at negative 260 Fahrenheit, common adage goes, a beach ball's worth of gas shrinks down to the size of a ping pong ball. But that example lacks scale. Phrased in another way, that a single ship's worth of LNG becomes 600 ships worth of gas in its natural state, it becomes easier to understand why LNG has skyrocketed in trade volume decade after decade, even if it's incredibly expensive and labor intensive to keep the stuff at such a cold temperature. Before liquid natural gas can be loaded onto an expensive boat, it needs to be cooled down at an expensive liquefaction facility. At each liquefaction facility, there are what the industry calls trains. The gas is treated to remove impurities and then aggressively cooled to turn raw gas into clean gas and clean gas, liquid gas. At Sabine Pass in coastal Louisiana, the oldest operational liquefaction terminal in the US, or the largest, there are currently 6 separate functional trains. The first 5 cost, as estimated by Cheniere Energy, which owns and operates the facility, between $17.5 and $18.5 billion to build, while the 6 added labor costs of about $2.5 billion. After trains, the product is then stored, awaiting the ship. At Sabine Pass, LNG is stored in 5 separate tanks capable of holding an absurd 500 million cubic meters worth of gas. Once a ship has been positioned in a vessel berth, of which Sabine Pass has 3, and once the ship's tanks have been cleaned and prepared to take on the freezing liquid, loading arms are then bolted onto the ship, and the filling process begins while crew members monitor ice buildup on the adjoining pipes. If the ship's tanks have already been cooled, filling will take about 15 hours. This process needs to be fairly quick, as Cheniere reported that it filled 423 cargoes in 2022 and 425 in 2023. Once the liquid natural gas is on the move, it's now the job of tanker operators to monitor its freezing cargo and minimize loss on account of offboarding. There are 2 main categories of LNG tankers: those with independent tanks, like the recognizable Moss style with its spherical tanks, and those with the less distinguishable integral tanks, where the tank functions as a part of the hull. The former is older, deals with less sloshing, danger that can damage tanks or increase blow off inside the tank, and is reliably safe on account of the tank's isolation from the hull. The latter is capable of carrying far more, and because of this, are becoming more prevalent and are reliably safe on account of the tank's pliability should the building strike. But both rely less on continuously cooling their products than just keeping it cold in the first place, as both tank structures are maximally insulated with more than 20 centimeters of foam and multiple barriers between the tanks. Still, some boil off is bound to occur, but rather smartly, that's what powers the boat. And should the tank experience too much boil off, there are systems in place to stop the process, whether by running gas back through humidification or by cooling the tank by spraying liquid from the bottom of the tank in the gap at the top. Keep an eye on all of this is a crew of about 20 to 29 members, with at least one cargo engineer focused on the composition of gas within the tanks specifically. Upon reaching its protocol, the process is effectively reversed, in a similarly labor and infrastructure-intensive process with gasification equipment in place. Ultimately, for as dispersed as users of natural gas are, and diverse uses of natural gas are, the process of making, moving, and regassing LNG is remarkably fun. Across the world's two largest LNG producers, LNG exporting is confined to only 7 active locations, 6 in the US and just 1 in Qatar. And as for imports, Japan, with the longest history of LNG reliance, is home to around just 30 regasification plants. But like all fossil fuels, demand for natural gas is expected to soon peak. New buildings are increasingly being built with heat pumps, electric water heaters, induction stovetops, and other cleaner, more efficient electric alternatives. In fact, already in New York City, for example, certain new buildings are banned from adding natural gas hookups. So this incredible network of pipelines and tankers will grow increasingly irrelevant in the coming decades. For now, though, it's one of the world's most fascinating interconnected distribution systems. Listen, I'm 10-7-8, the fastest. Nobody can beat this. You can't prove me wrong. Nobody can.
Starting off the challenge, we have Rock as our first map, which in my opinion is considered to be the hardest map on BO3, but some may argue Shang is actually more difficult. Rules for this challenge is the same as before. This is a 5 days real-time challenge, meaning if you have to eat or bathroom break or need to take a nap, the timer is still ticking. On the screen, the timer colored in red is a 24 hours countdown, and once that reaches 0, the next day begins and the timer restarts. The white timer will indicate the time it takes for me to reach round 100 as well as the round timer. Maps will also be chosen based off populator. Doing this in 5 days with a total of 14 maps, we would need to average 3 maps a day. Luckily, Rock isn't a difficult map to set up. I tend to like to camp over by speed cola area with the doors closed for the lower round. Round 14, we already managed to get the Wonder Waffle. The goal here is to try to camp in this room for as long as possible without having to open up the door behind. Then on round 18, we finally managed to get the Mark II, but still no luck on Monkey Bombs. The one thing about this strategy is that you need to be familiar with how to reload your Wonder Waffle quickly. Whenever the waffle reloads and you see the ammo is back in the clip, fire your grenade and then weapon swap. This cancels the animation instantly and allows you to shoot right away. This can be a little difficult to get used to at first because you need to get the timing right. If you do it too fast, you will end up throwing out a grenade and this can very likely get you killed. I see most people would fast reload their waffle by either knifing or simply just weapon swap back and forth. However, both methods isn't as fast as grenade swap. At around round 40, you will have to start switching between the camping strat and the one trap strat. Simply make your way over to the double tap side and stand by the trap while it's active. This will kill all the zombies including the ones coming from the window. And after the trap is over, run back to the camping strat. I think people usually tend to camp here to anywhere between round 50 to 70, but the higher the round, the more difficult this will be, so it will really depend on how comfortable you are with this strategy. I tend to trail my zombies directly at speed cola and shoot them down with the Mark II at the kitchen. Then bring them back to speed area and shoot them by speed. On round 55, I ended up taking my first down. I picked up the death machine and swapped immediately, thinking that it was going to pull my waffle back, but instead it pulled the Mark II. And that basically screwed me over. I probably would have been okay if it swapped my waffle out first instead. At round 60, I still managed to be able to camp at speed. At this point, I was starting to get nervous since I think my highest round camping here in prior to this was round 59. It's round 65, Insomnia, and you're still here? What are you doing? Round 67? You crazy? Round 69? Nah. Unfortunately, this was the final round that I could stay. I had to bail because I was broke as hell on ammo. It was a huge W that I managed to not open up the door for so long, but unfortunately, this was also the same round that I took my second down. Somehow a zombie got through the cave trap and I didn't notice, and I completely got sandwiched by the window zombie. This down actually put me in a very bad position since I had no monkey bombs and only one waffle shot, while the trap is still running. Thank God I was carrying 2 in plain sight zombies. I ended up doing a waffle trail at the end of round 69 as well, since I wasn't guaranteed I would chemical next round. Now since the door is open, we transition over to the double trap strat. On round 76, I ended up taking my third down. This specific way of downing has been so common for me because what happened here is because I play on controller, when you sprint and slide, sometimes it will make you prone instead because you either press them at the same time or you try sliding without managing to totally sprint. And this is why mouse and keyboard is so much more smoother. At this point in the game, it was already looking really bad for me since round 76 wasn't even halfway to round 100 on this map, and I was already sold out on QR. Round 80 is the halfway point in case if you were wondering. Going onward, I decided that I am only going to sprint instead of sliding through the trap because I didn't want to deal with another unavoidable down. And with careful execution, we managed to hit that miracle round 100 at 7 hours and 43 minutes with 3 down. Moving on to map number 2, we have Revelation. This was a crazy pick because we literally just went from the hardest map to the easiest map on the challenge. Although this map is known to be easy for high rounding, the setup is sure kind of annoying because not only do we need both the one weapon, we also need rank, and we gotta switch on the 5-brick tool and upgrade the apostle. I always forget that this weapon even existed on this map, nor the name of it. So I usually just call it the bow actually managed to get the apothecary. Every time I look for the stones to shoot, it hurts my eyes so badly because I'm colorblind. And on round 13, we finally got the thunderblind. Now it's time to attack time. Beam! Luckily, I ended up getting right without losing additional time as the bots already moved to the high round area. This high round strategy is basically being stationary and shooting your apothecary. Every apothecary shot should charge up your rank mode. This strategy is so chill and you would easily cruise to round 100. Sometimes a little too chill that you wouldn't even notice a zombie snuck by and yeah. And this is the exact reason why I have Widows 1 as one of my perks. This was my moment to be able to eat and play at the same time without losing time. Funny thing is, although this is revelations, we're actually still trapping Barat as this high round strategy revolves only in this area. Round 15 and only 8 minutes over an hour. We're just cruising. We get to the point where these bug rounds takes even longer than normal rounds. But luckily, they are nowhere as bad as how when BO6 first launched when I had to do 1 hour plus of rounds. Like, what were they thinking? One mistake that I realized in this game,
You know what, bro?
I bought BO6 over speed bullet because I didn't have a bullet gun to take out the bug round. So I had to use a trap.
I can't handle this anymore, bro. I gotta study for a test. It's 3 AM, bro. Oh my god. What is wrong with me, dude? Man. Oh shit. Shit, fuck. This is so stupid. Fuck that, dude. Okay, I just need to check if I have no mods on. Yeah, unmodded, right? Right, I was on unmodded, right? Pretty sure. Oh my god, if I wasn't gonna be sad. Did my game crash? Oh. Okay, I think. that's it. I'm sleepy. Goodbye.